Wow.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew.
This is Jim Varney, a trained professional actor.
How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world.
Know what I mean?
Ernest P. Worrell is here.
Welcome to another spooky edition of Good Times with Bad Movies. I'm Paul Ireland. Joining me as always is the master of mop, the ruler of refuse, the czar of jars, the baron of bottles, the duke of dust, Tim, the troll man Morrison. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Paul. Thank you. How are you?
Doing good. I'm excited. I'm pumped up, man. As you can see, and if you're listening to this, you can't see that, but whatever. I am wearing my Ernest Scared Stupid shirt tonight because that is exactly what we are talking about, sir.
That's right. We are going way back to 1991 to watch Ernest Scared Stupid, distributed by Touchstone Pictures. And this is actually a movie that we are quite fond of for a change. I think we've talked about the Ernest movies so much before, and I think we've watched quite a few of them together, back when we were in our teens. And even at that was probably rewatched because I watched all these movies over and over when I was little. And I think Ernest Scared Stupid is my favorite of the Ernest movies.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I've honestly watched this movie at minimum of 70 to 100 times in my entire life. I was obsessed with this movie as a kid. And you know what? This is one of my favorites too, Tim. This is up there. I think this movie and then just a slight hair under it is Ernest Goes to Jail. But I remember you and we are big. I'd safe to say, I think that you and I are big Ernest fans. And we did an inside baseball for everybody here. We actually tried to demo Ernest Rides Again Once Upon a Time, which is a terrible Ernest movie. That is up there with Ernest Goes to Africa. It is real bad. And it was good. It was a good demo for us. We're like, okay, we're just never going to speak of this movie again. But we finally got one. We broke the Da Vinci Code. And we now are doing an Ernest movie, and I'm so excited, Tim.
Yeah, this is awesome. Ernest P. Worrell is one of my favorite characters, and I would think, and just about anybody who's over the age of 30 years old probably knows who Jim Varney is. He's the actor that plays Ernest P. Worrell, and maybe I should just give a little bit of info about Jim Varney for those of you who may not know who he is. So Jim Varney is a professionally trained actor who gained a lot of success in a whole bunch of different roles. He did Shakespearean stuff and a whole bunch comedy troupes. I think he was a regular on the Johnny Cash and Friends show too. But he really broke out in the mid 80s when he went viral before the internet was even a thing for doing these commercials for these towns around, I don't know where he's from, somewhere down south.
Tennessee, I believe.
Tennessee, yeah.
Know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got quite the accent. Yeah, you know what I mean, Vern? So he was doing all these commercials for all these local companies and stuff, and it just became so popular that they decided I think they gave him a TV show as well as a movie deal, and I think they came out in the same year. And just to give you a perspective of how popular these were, over the course of 11 years, I think he made 9 Ernest movies. There's probably, no joke, probably 400 Ernest commercials and a full one season of his show, which was also just a bunch of skits. So to describe Ernest, Ernest is like a man-child. This movie is for kids, if you didn't know that. But Ernest P. Worrell is a grown man who is very much like kids. He hangs out with kids. He's probably the best at pulling this kind of role off without actually being creepy. He's not the Wiggles or weird stuff like that. He probably appeals to little boys mostly because he's got a little bit of gross humor and stuff. He has a face that's as malleable as Jim Carrey's face. He is He is excellent at doing facial expressions, over-exaggerated facial expressions, like a big old rubber face where he can stretch his face and contort it all around. He's excellent at doing voices. In this movie, and actually all of his movies, he does several different characters, but the main one is Ernest. Gosh, that was a lot.
That is perfect, Tim. Because, I mean, as goofy as Ernest is, this is a complex character to break down, oddly enough. And again, if you're like, who is Ernest? If you don't know, he is the voice of Slinky from Toy Story. So maybe that'll help you guys out there too. Yeah. And R.I.P. Jim Varney, not around anymore, unfortunately.
One of the more popular Simpsons episodes, he played the Carney.
That's right, he did.
Homer and Bart they wanted to be Carnies, so they switched places with Carnies. And these Carnies, Jim Varney and his son ended up taking their house.
That's right. Spud or something. Jim Varney the Carney. That's right. The ring toss game. They got swindled out of their house. That's hilarious. And yeah, no. And you know what? Honestly, I think he hit the nail on the head. Like, he plays a bunch of characters in this movie. And by that, he is mainly Ernest in this movie. But there are times when Ernest himself will just wear costumes and just go sporadically into different voices. And oh my gosh, I love this. I love when he does this. Again, and Ernest Goes to Jail, and in all the movies, really, he plays this one character that always comes back, this old woman. He plays an old woman, usually with like a neck brace on and stuff, and like a weird fishing hat kind of thing. And it is hilarious. And honestly, I cannot wait to get to that point, Tim, when he starts talking about Ottomans and all kinds of stuff, the high ground. This is a great movie. I love this. As a kid, I gotta tell you, it was a fun movie because it's not that scary, but it's also kind of goofy, and if you're a kid, it's kind of creepy. Like, the monsters look really cool in this, and it's awesome. Pretty sure too, just a small tidbit, I don't know if you knew this or not, but the trolls in this movie, a bunch of them were repurposed from Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, there's some great pictures you can see of the exact same trolls in this movie without their redone makeup, where they're like side-by-side images of the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And you can see that they are the exact same puppets and costumes, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. They look really creepy. And I used to watch this movie with my brother when I was a kid, and we used to be like, who's your favorite troll out of those ones? And we kind of sit there and pause the screen and be like, that one looks cool, that one looks cool and stuff. But yeah, anyways, I'm excited, Tim. I think we've covered a lot here. I feel like we're kind of bringing people up to speed here. And with that being said, maybe we just got to jump into this movie. Know what I mean, Vern?
All right, Bobby, let's do this. And this movie is going to start with an awesome theme song, just like all the Ernest movies usually do. And it's kind of like how every James Bond movie starts out with a song. Ernest P. Worrell movie started out with a song, and this one is a Halloween one, and it is awesome. Here we are at the very beginning, and we're going to start a long, long time ago, which is basically what it says here on the screen. Briarville, Missouri, a long time ago. And we are in
Sorry, I just want to say, Tim, because I know you're going to start here, but I just want everybody to note mentally in their head, because this is one of my qualms with this movie. It says a long time ago, and we're going to notice that the people in this movie are dressed in, I would say, like ye old English kind of fashion. So just mental note, just jot that down in your head, folks. Save that, store that in your noggin, and we'll get that going later on.
We started with a point of view shot, and it is, we are seeing from the eyes of some kind of a monster, and it is chasing this girl around, and she's either just really in on this plan, like excited about capturing this monster, or she's a really bad actor, because you ever notice that she's just like, at one point, she just starts like giggling? Like, you can see her, she's almost like stopping herself from laughing while she's running away.
Yeah, you're right. She's got a weird little smile on her face. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe she's just in on the plan, because it seems as though she's lured this monster out. And these settlers, because that's what they're dressed like. They look like settlers from like the 1800s, maybe 1700s even. And they throw a net over this monster and capture it. And then they kind of roll him up in this potato sack thing and throw him into a big hole that they've dug. And we see our first character, played by Jim Varney in this movie, which is Phineas P. Worrell. Ernest P. Worrell's great-great-grandfather, a descendant, basically, is what he's referred to as. And he's a very smart, wise man.
This guy is dressed somewhere between Abraham Lincoln and an Amish man. You know, that's kind of the general tone of everybody in this movie. So that's why, again, I'm just like, just note that. Just note that down, folks, okay? Because he's almost got like a Prince outfit on, but it's not the 80s.
What's going on here now is that everybody is gathered around. They all have torches. They're in the woods. And this troll is in a hole. And he's basically saying, because you put me in this hole, I put a curse on you, Phineas P. Worrell, that every one of your descendants are going to get dumber and dumber and dumber. And one day, one of them is going to be so dumb, on this one specific day, the day before Halloween, October 30th, he is going to free me from this tree that you are about to plant on top of me. So just in case you're confused here, let me explain what's going on again. They are burying this troll and putting a tree on top of him. And he declares that the roots will become the chains and keeping him imprisoned underground, hopefully for eternity.
Troll in the hole.
Yeah, troll in the hole, like Elf on the Shelf and the troll in the hole. But I do think it's funny that they're not even going to try to kill this troll. They're just going to put a tree on top of it.
Yeah, as if just like burying a troll and putting a tree on it is going to somehow, that's how you kill a troll? Like, that doesn't, I mean, I don't really know my mythology with trolls and stuff, but I thought like they were hiding under bridges and they ask you questions like the Billy Goes Gruff or something. But I guess in this one, they just do whatever. But anyways, once we kind of cut from the spooky scene, we realize that we pan out and it's a little girl who's giving a book report to her friends in like grade 7 or something. I don't know. They're like grades. Yeah, I'm going to say like grade 7. I'm bad at gauging kids' age here. And this little girl, her name is it's Elizabeth. And she's telling this story, and there's this big, I don't want to be rude to kids here, but he's a husky fella with a mullet, we'll call him. And he's instantly you kind of zoom in that this dude is a bully of the town. And he's just like, this is a load of BS, dude. And her little friend, Kenny, is like, no, this is a true story, man. This is based on history here. And as they talk about this, we get our first shot of the man, the myth, the legend, Ernest, as he is now driving through town he's dragging a lady behind his garbage truck, sort of like in Troy. And this lady is screaming at Ernest to stop the truck.
And then we skip ahead a little bit here, and Ernest P. World, so he does all these monologues. Like he's constantly going into monologues where he's kind of like subtly breaking the fourth wall. He's obviously talking to us, unless he's just insane. And I want to play a part of this. Basically, he's going on here about how great of a sanitation worker he is. In the Ernest movies, for some reason, his profession is that he's either a cleaner of some sort. He's a janitor, and Ernest goes to jail. And this movie, he is a sanitation worker.
He's a garbage man.
Yeah, he's a garbage man. And he's apparently the only garbage man in this town.
It's a small town.
Yeah, and this garbage truck that he has is completely decked out with Rube Goldberg devices that are doing things that I'm not really sure what they're doing, but it's a bunch of mops that are attached to like cranks and cogs that are making them dip into garbage buckets and dumping soap in, and roller skates going down these like tracks that I don't know what they're doing. But basically, he's just going into a monologue about how amazing he is. So I just want to give you guys an audio here of what he sounds like. Here is Ernest P. World gloating about how great of a sanitation worker he is.
Yeah, when they hired me as sanitary engineer, they had no idea that I was actually Ernest P. World, man of destiny, ruler of refuse, a man who has taken dominion over his environment. A brilliant innovator in the fertile field of recycling. The Tsar of Jars, the Baron of Bottles, the Duke of Dust.
Yeah, so he's basically just going on, just gushing over himself about how awesome of a cleaner he is.
I was going to ask you, like, what do you think this thing is supposed to do? Because as far as I can tell, it's just cleaning the garbage cans. It's an elaborate garbage can cleaner, but it's like it only does 6 of them. I don't really know what this is supposed to be.
I watched it a few times, and honestly, today, on my last viewing of this movie, I came to that same conclusion as well, that it looks like he's cleaning garbage cans, as opposed to, doing what you normally expect a garbage man to do and collect the garbage.
You think, right? Like, this guy spends his entire time just like, let me make a device that's going to clean out 6 garbage cans in this town. Like, I don't understand that one. But we should note, too, that Ernest, basically in every movie, he is making devices. Like, he's an inventor, I guess, sort of like a guerrilla inventor. He makes weird stuff. In one movie, he's got like a whole apparatus that he can brush his teeth with. And then he like bathes himself with his clothes on in like his washing machine and stuff. So like, he's no stranger to devices. He's an inventor. He's a guy who works with his hands. I think we can say that. Safe to say.
He usually already has these things made. We never see him actually make anything. These are just devices and stuff that he has around. While he's gloating about himself here, and we see these devices going to work, so to speak, he is also standing on the front loader of the garbage truck where it would pick up a dumpster and kind of basically do like a 180, take it up over the top of the garbage truck and dump it in over top. I guess unknowingly, it's like, I don't know if it's raising up or something, and he just doesn't realize it. But in any case, it just, while he's rambling and going on, he kind of like hits, I think the controller gets wet or something that he has. It just malfunctions. And he ends up just falling into the garbage truck, like where the garbage goes. And it starts to compact.
I think we forgot to mention this earlier too. He's always got a little dog, a little Jack Russell Terrier, a little wishbone little dog. He's so cute. And his name is Rimshot, which is a classic name. And this little dog, he is now in the front of his garbage truck, and because he can just talk to Rimshot and Rimshot knows what's happening, he's almost like a little boy in this movie, basically. Rimshot accidentally hits a button, and now we've got the walls sort of collapsing in, a la that garbage pit thing in Star Wars, you know, where they're kind of getting squished.
Yeah, it's just like that.
And he grabs like a muffler and tries to like stop it, and it just gets crunched up. And can we just play? I know we just played a clip, Tim, but can we play one more clip? This is this can be a clip every show, folks. I'm sorry here, but I love this clip here. He now picks up a little doll, and he's gonna sacrifice the doll to the gears to try to stop it from crushing him. All right.
Yeah, and he has his own. He's doing a voice, making making this little baby doll talk to him as well. It's a baby doll.
I've got commentary for this, but we'll save this. Let's play the clip.
No, don't stick my head in those gears. It's me or you, and I have a family at the doll factory.
I'll send him a nice card.
You'll never get away with this, Ernest. I know where you live.
He shoves the baby doll's head into the gears. It gets crushed and doesn't do anything. He is still about to get crushed.
So could you imagine this, Tim? How crazy you'd have to be to almost be getting crushed, okay, in a garbage can, and now you're gonna pick up a doll and have a fake monologue to yourself about this doll having a family in the doll factory, and you're gonna send them a car. Which begs the question, is this guy actually crazy, or what is it, like, why?
I think it would be hilarious to walk by a garbage truck and you hear someone going on like this inside.
Like, no, don't squish me. I've got a family.
You'll never get away with this.
Oh, man. All right. I love Ernest. God bless this man.
So he ends up getting crushed. He gets compacted into a cube. He should be 100% dead, but Ernest is also, he basically reacts like a cartoon. He's kind of like a living cartoon. So
yeah, that's right.
Like he comes out squished. He looks like he is mangled up, not in a gruesome way, but in the next scene he's totally fine.
Oh yeah, he is folded up in half now in a way that just would, like, your spine would be completely crushed. But you know, it's a movie, and Elizabeth, the little girl who did the book report, and her friend Kenny come by, and they hear the Rimshot barking, and they open up the door and they let Ernest out of this thing, and he comes out in a giant garbage cube. and we cut to now the mayor of the town, who is incidentally the chubby kid with the mullet. It's his dad. Okay. So the bully, I honestly don't remember the bully's name in this movie, even though I've seen this a ton of times. I don't remember his name. I just call him the bully. So the bully guy, his dad is the mayor of this town, and he goes to Kenny's dad, who is the sheriff of the town, and says, hey, I thought you told Ernest to go clean up the old lady Hackmore's house. And old lady Hackmore, we're going to find out, is a very creepy lady who lives on the edge of town, and she has basically a bunch of garbage in the front of her house, and she does welding and stuff. And if you saw this person in real life, you'd be like, she is a complete recluse, and she's almost like that lady in Donnie Darko who goes to the mailbox every day and doesn't say anything to anybody. You'd be like, there is a legend about this lady and how weird she is.
Well, this lady is not silent. She has a lot to say. A little more context. This lady is played by actress Eartha Kitt, whom is probably most famous for being the third the third Catwoman in the old Batman series from the 60s.
With Adam West, that's right. R.I.P. as well.
Yeah. And she also played the villain in the movie The Emperor's New Groove.
That's right. Yzma.
You know? Yeah. Crunk, pull the lever.
Wrong lever! That's right.
Yeah.
The poison made for Cusco.
Yeah. So her place here, she lives in what looks to be like a dilapidated home. Her yard is a mess. It just looks like rusted shrapnel garbage all over the place. It is an eyesore for this town.
It's crazy. The door, it has like a bunch of like rods or something that are bent in like this semicircle way, and they're welded to the door. And then there's these like dark hands coming out of the door, and that's what Ernest uses to knock on the door. Like, it's serial killer level stuff happening here. But yeah, that's where this lady lives. And she answers the door, and let's play you a clip, Tim.
Yeah, we got to show you what she sounds like. Even though we just described it, you should hear this.
Yeah, she's gonna, and just for context, you folks, she's gonna answer the door with a bunch of welding goggles and a torch in her hand.
Yes, and like a brown trench coat.
Yeah, that's right. And just crazy disheveled hair.
Off of my property! What are you doing here?
Ma'am, I'm just here to pick up all this garbage.
Got no garbage here. Only the expressions of the soul.
Ma'am, I'm an official representative of the Briarville city government, and incidentally, a close personal friend of Mayor Murdoch's.
Aren't you that Warrill kid?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you will bring down the curse on us all. Woe to you, O you seed of Warrill. Get out of here and don't come back.
So she is quite offended that Ernest is here to clean up what everybody else sees as garbage. And she immediately goes into a tirade here, like a worrisome tirade, because she knows about the history of this troll, this monster that is trapped under a tree way back in the woods, which happens to be behind her house.
Yeah, that's just a convenient plot. But we'll speed ahead because we got a little bit of ground to cover here. So next we're jumping over to, it looks like the kids now, they have a haunted house set up, and they're kind of going through what's going to happen here. There's another nerdy kid, and I can't remember his name, Joey, I think his name is. Yeah, he's got glasses too. So it's Elizabeth, Kenny, and their friend Joey. And they're all in this haunted house that they've made, which is just basically a bunch of cardboard and a couple pieces of wood. You know, it's admirable for a bunch of kids. They tried. And as they're kind of walking through the haunted house, all of a sudden it starts shaking. And then we have the mullet kid and his bully friend, his brother, I think is what it is. They start shaking the place now, and they basically trash this. And the kids run off, and they go to see Ernest. And now we are going to get some of Ernest's characters. I love this scene, Tim. And again, we're just playing you 1,000 clips. We're going to play you basically a quarter of this movie by the time this is over here, but I don't care because I love this scene so freaking much. This is so good. This little kid, Kenny, is telling Ernest about what happened, and Ernest is going to tell him that they need to get the high ground. And he's going to explain to little Kenny about a plucky little group of people called the Botswanans. So, Tim, please hit him with another clip. Let's go.
It was a dark night in Lower Botswana. Giant boola
Dressed like Caesar.
in the still air. Then it came, the screeching war cry of the Ottoman horde. We're the Ottomans, and you're not. You're in a world of it now, pal.
Oh my, I'm afraid. Sure, I'm scared. Everybody in Botswana is scared. It looks like curtains.
This place is just screaming for Drake. Don't worry about the Ottomans. They're just wusses. They're all talk.
I knew an Ottoman Eagle Scout. He got a merit badge in wholesale slaughter.
Come on, Ottomans. Take a piece of this. What we need is the high ground.
The high ground is no good without trees.
Friends, Romans, Botswanians, lend me your trees.
There ain't no trees in Botswana. I know. I am a Botswanian lumberjack, and I ain't never had a job.
We need dress shield. You need the high ground to keep away from us. Cause we're the Ottomans.
Could you imagine if you were like a 12-year-old kid and somehow you were friends with this guy and you went over looking for advice and he started jumping into costumes right in front of you like that? Like, where does he get them from? And like, what is really happening? Because we're only seeing clips. So is he just doing like, you know, like it was a dark night in the Botswanian, and then also he's like, hold on a second, and he runs away and he comes back like out of the, like jumps out and go like, where are the, and then he's like, hold on a second, and then he comes back out, oh my, you know, like.
I've always liked the idea that That's just what we see, and that's what like Ernest sees in his mind. But from the kid's perspective, he's just doing a bunch of voices and acting really funny, like he's legitimately like crazy, like maybe he has multiple personality disorder or something.
I've never even considered that before. Wow, you just opened up my mind to a whole new realm there. You could be onto something. I think that there's a valid point there, right? Like maybe the kid sees him doing all the costumes, or maybe it's Ernest's point of view where he just does the voice and that's what he thinks is happening. Yeah, that's a good, I never thought about that. You've really opened up my mind there.
To sum up that whole spiel, because I don't even know if you'd really gather it from what he said. The point of that is that he is saying that these three kids need a treehouse.
That was a very complicated way to say that. Yeah, but you're right.
That the Ernest solution for the kids being bullied and to rectify their haunted house being destroyed by the bullies is to build a house in a tree.
So Ernest leads the kids into the woods to find a tree house, and they go through a bunch of trees. We'll just skip ahead to the point now where they go really deep into the woods in this really dark, spooky area, and they find a big, old, kind of crusty looking tree, but it's really wide. And Ernest is like, this is the tree you want. This is the high ground here. But the tree's like, I swear it's like 5 feet off the ground. So it's not really that high. But this is what Ernest decides is the appropriate tree for everybody. And they start basically setting up an elaborate tree fort kind of thing in here where it's got like a pizza thrower and like a mailbox sort of dispenser thing. And it's got a bunch of little gadgets, you know. And Ernest starts nailing in like planks for the tree too, so they can have some stairs to go up to the tree and stuff. I guess like a something to climb up the tree, a piece of wood to climb up the tree. That's what I'm trying to say. And we cut down to the roots of the tree now, and you can hear Phineas Worrell talking. And it turns out that this tree that they've discovered is the tree where the troll is. And somehow, again, the roots are just like hollow and stuff, and it's just the ground underneath it is completely hollow, and it's just you just see like a pulsating mass happening under the ground.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre, but you're right. He has unknowingly picked the exact tree that the troll declared a descendant from Phineas Worrell would come along and free him later on. And wouldn't you know it, Ernest found it.
And somehow this also triggers like a little voodoo light in old lady Hackmore's head. Because she's like home welding something, a bunch of forks or something. I don't know what she's doing. And she like picks up a book. But you can see she's got a weird vibe happening to her, right? So old lady Hackmore now decides to go into the forest to see what's happening. And as she's doing this, the kids are loading up. Somehow they have like a pizza thrower with actual pizzas. I don't know where they got these pizzas from. These kids are like 12.
I'm assuming because Ernest is a garbage man, he has just collected all these things. But again, I'm not really sure because here in a moment, I mean, we can just talk about it. Here in a moment, the bullies come. Ernest will part ways with the kids here for a second because old lady Hackmore comes out and she is losing her mind because she knows what Ernest is about to do. She knows he's about to unleash a troll. And then these bullies come and these kids just start using all these pizzas and cans of food and stuff to shoot them at these kids. And we're talking like 5 or 6 like extra large pizzas.
You've got a great point there, Tim. I never thought, again, like you're taking this to a whole level. I'm just really very surface level with this movie for some reason. But you got a good point there. Yeah, like he's a garbage man I guess he's collected all this stuff. And just saying that aloud now, it's like...
Because this makes no sense. All this stuff is crazy.
Well, just saying that aloud now, it's like he's no better than old lady Hackmore. Like he was like, hey, you're a pack rat and we got to clean all this stuff up. But it's like, where did you get the garbage from, Ernest? Did you just, I mean, unless you went around to like garbage, dumpsters around town or something, but it's like...
this is the garbage that he's collected from people.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like Ernest is a bit of a pack rat himself, and he's kind of doing the old lady Hackmore thing. Like, what does his place look like in this movie?
Well, he's a terrible garbage man. I mean, he's taking the garbage and putting it in the woods.
A lot of the pizza's recyclable, okay? This is all natural stuff, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So once the bullies are dispatched from, Ernest comes back, and they're like, hey, Ernest, we actually got rid of the bullies. They're like, what's up with old lady Hackmore? And he's like, she was just really steamed because she said that this is the tree where the troll's buried. And, on a day like today, like the night before Halloween, if there was a Worrell person like me who came and put his hands on the tree and said, "Yea, though I call thee forth, Trantor," and I knocked 3 times on the stump that it would summon a troll. But what are the odds of that happening? Basically is what he says, right? So all of a sudden, we now cut down to the troll underground, and it is now breaking out of the chains, and his little grubby little hands are coming out of the roots, basically. And a storm starts up now, and the kids freak out, and they're like, "We got to get out of here," because they're, again, like 12 years old. And they're like, "This has been enough for us today." And they run off into the woods. And this is, again, Ernest is just off by himself now, and he's just like, again, there's like lightning and thunder happening, and he's kind of freaked out, and he's going, what is happening here? And Ernest is scared. And all of a sudden, like, a troll shows up out of nowhere now and just starts attacking him. But you don't really see the troll here, right? You get just a little glimpse of this troll because there's lightning happening now, and he freaks out, and he accidentally kicks over some garbage, and there's some like milk and a bunch of food stuff that spills out all over the ground. And all of a sudden, the troll is gone.
This one, there's a line here though when this troll shows up, and this troll is ugly, by the way. The makeup, the people that made this troll, they did a really good job making him look gross and ugly. And he appears in front of Ernest, and Ernest says, "Gee, I sure hope you're from Keebler." like a Keebler elf hiding in the tree making chocolate or whatever, shoes or whatever they do.
They make cookies.
Or cookies, yeah, that's right. I was thinking cobbler. Yeah, never mind. Keebler. Yeah.
The cobbler elves. They make pies.
So anyways, yeah, like you said, the troll vanishes. Then we catch up with the kids. So Elizabeth and Kenny decide that they're going to go home. They're going to walk home together. Joey's going to take a different route through the woods. So as he's going through the woods, he kind of falls down this little hill, a muddy hill. And he's like scrambling, trying to get back up this hill. And it's dark, and he's slipping, and he holds his hand out. And then you hear Ernest go, "Hey, pal, I gotcha." And he grabs what he thinks is Ernest's hand, but when he looks up, it's that scary looking troll. And he basically turns Joey into a little miniature wooden doll, because that's what this troll is trying to do. He needs to snatch up children and turn them into wooden dolls and put them in the tree so that he can basically ascend so that his powers can ascend. He'll get stronger. And he needs to do it by Halloween. He has 24 hours.
That's right. Ernest goes running over to old lady Hackmore's house now and screaming at her and explains what happened. And she tells him, "You're an idiot because you released this troll." And exactly what you said, Tim. If he gets 5 souls by Halloween and he puts them in his little whatever, that tree thing for some reason, that now there's going to be pods that are going to show up. And these pods, once they hit the ground, they will unleash an army of trolls, basically. And it's going to be just destruction for the entire town. And one thing she does mention too, because she's got a book somehow on these trolls, and there's a bit of a poem, and it says something about that there's a troll that can stop me with the heart of a child in a mother's care. So that's kind of what we know about what is going to happen, or how I guess you're at least supposed to stop the troll. So it's a bit of a riddle for Ernest to solve here.
Yeah, and Lady Hackmore is trying to motivate Ernest to do the right thing, because he is the only one that can stop it, according to her. And she declares him the great redneck hope. And Ernest takes this seriously, and he decides that he is going to town right now, and he is about to warn everybody. He's going to get everyone prepared for this troll invasion.
And can also say too, there's actually a picture, it looks like, of Phineas Worrell on the wall as he's saying this too. So somehow she's got a picture of this guy. Like, she's taking this whole thing pretty seriously, it seems like.
And here's Ernest going down the street, and he has a megaphone. His dog Rimshot is following him, and he is just screaming down the street, like basically like the town crier. And here's a clip of what that sounds like.
Make sure your shoes are on the right feet.
Make sure your shoes are on the right feet.
So moving along, skipping over a lot of stuff. Ernest P. Worrell is kind of just gearing up, trying to buy troll equipment that he thinks is going to stop this troll. It's just random things that he puts together, like bats and hockey sticks and helmets and all that kind of stuff. And while this is going on, we also see that this troll has snatched a kid off of a skateboard in the middle of the road in broad daylight, and nobody notices. And then we go to nighttime now, and we see Elizabeth at home, and she's sitting on her bed, and she is kind of telling her mom that she's she's really scared because Ernest has kind of got the kids really scared, because at this point, Kenny and Elizabeth haven't seen the troll. They just hear that stuff is going on, and their friend Jamie is missing. And there's oddly not a whole lot of motivation from the characters to find Joey. They just know he's missing. Anyways.
He's around somewhere.
Their friend Joey's missing. Elizabeth is scared. Her mother's like, Elizabeth, there's no such things as trolls. Ernest is an idiot. Don't pay attention to him. I'm going out. See you later. So she lays down, and we get this shot where she's laying on her bed, and you can kind of tell that she thinks that she wants to look underneath her bed. So she kind of hangs over, and it's really tense. And she looks underneath her bed. There's nothing there. And then she lays in her bed, and she kind of gives a little bit of a breath of an exhale of relief here. And she's calm, and then she rolls over and opens her eyes. And this ugly troll is laying in bed with her, and she screams. She is now a wooden doll. He kidnapped her and turned her into a doll. And man, this part of this movie was probably one of the creepiest things like really got me when I was little. Like, that part really scared me.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. This is like there's a good little scare in this movie, honestly, man, because he's like, this guy is snotty and mucusy, and you get a good look at him for a second. You're like, this guy's head, the troll's head, is like, it's almost 2 feet across, and it's got to be 2 feet high. It's a giant, like an Easter Island looking head with just a bunch of snot and a huge beard, and he's like, "Rrrr." So it's a good little scare they put on you as a kid, man. Honestly, so
yeah, I think at one point Ernest describes this troll as looking like a giant ugly Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, you're right. He does, actually. There's going to be a scene coming up here that we just have to break down for a second, which is classic. Yeah, but we should just note now. So the troll has 3 kids that he has caught. So he needs only 2 more, and he can have his little troll cotton candy kind of clown army thing unleashed here. You're going to find out.
And Ernest is now driving around with his garbage truck, and he has put a dumpster on the front of his truck and written on it "Troll Motel," hoping that that it will trick this troll into getting into it. And he hears a few thuds, and he's like, "Rim shot, we got him! We got the troll!" So Ernest naturally drives this troll in the dumpster to the police station, where a bunch of people there are kind of freaking out because, one, a mother. I just find this funny. This mother is like, Joey hasn't come home in like a day. Like, I'm getting really worried. And then this other guy pipes up and he's like, yeah, and my garbage needs to be picked up. And the cop's like, I know you all got really big problems. Anyways, Ernest shows up and he's like, hey, cop, I got him out here. I've got the troll. So he's like, all right, Ernest. And really doesn't really ask much questions. He just stands back and waits for Ernest to pull the lever down and open this garbage truck, the back of it. And the cop has his gun like pointed, and out of like the garbage and stuff inside the truck, these 2 kids pop out. It's the 2 bullies from earlier. Ernest managed to snatch a couple kids in this dumpster and almost got them shot by the police officer with his gun aimed at them.
That's right. And it looks like the mayor basically fires Ernest on the spot. So Ernest's pretty depressed. And actually, just before that happened too, we should note that Kenny was biking along and he found this kid who was dressed up in this like Native American kind of costume. And he heard the voice of Elizabeth in this little storm tunnel kind of thing. So he walks over to it, leaves the Native American kid, turns around, and all of a sudden this kid has now been turned into a doll, and Kenny just takes off running too. So Kenny is out there on the loose trying to stay away from this troll, and he's saved because there's like a milk truck that cuts in front and the troll runs away. But Tim, while Ernest is having this moment of self-pity because he's been fired, Rimshot kind of grabs his leg and gives him a little attaboy. I guess that's what he's trying to do. This dog is conveying to him, like, you got to pick yourself up here, man, and dust off your little jean jacket and get back out there, because you never knew when to quit, Ernest. We're going to play a clip here now, folks. This is by far my most favorite treasured moment in this movie, because this is going to come up a couple times, actually, this little thing here. And I got to say, Tim, this is a Family Guy joke before a Family Guy joke. I feel like they stole this from Ernest.
What you're referring to there, I think, is like the cutaway scene, the cutaway scenes that Family Guy does.
I've never been a quitter. Why, I've never known when to quit. Just ask my 4th grade teacher.
He never knew when to quit.
What he does there, as soon as she says he never knew when to quit, he starts scratching the chalkboard and she just smacks him in the head.
And we got to mention too, he's writing lines that said that the lines on the chalkboard say, "I never know when to quit."
Yeah.
Like, again, this is the original Family Guy joke. You know what I mean? I never knew when to quit. Just ask my 4th grade teacher. He never knew when to quit. Like, and the timing, the pace, the cutaway. This is straight up a Family Guy joke. And I love this scene so much. And this happens a couple times in this movie. And every time it comes up, I just revel in this moment. And honestly, anytime in life to this day when people are like, I never knew when to quit, I'm like, he never knew when to quit. And then everyone just stares at me and I'm like, see, that's like my litmus test. Like, are you cool? Did you have a cool childhood when you were a kid? You know what I mean? Like, that's like the Lisa needs braces. And you wait for someone to yell, dental plan. Like one of those moments. Exactly. You know that you had a cool childhood and you're in on the jokes. If you don't know, I knew when to quit. I'm like, we can't be friends. Maybe we can. Probably not. It's not going to get off to a good start here. So Ernest now goes off to the tree where old lady Hackmore told him not to build a tree fort on. And somehow he can just drive right up to it. Like, before, the kids had to walk through the woods, and it seemed like this was a very remote location, but apparently he can just waltz in with his truck, his pickup truck. That's just kind of what he does now. And he sees these things growing off these trees, these pods that he remarked, they kind of look like Brussels sprouts. And honestly, as a kid, that grossed me out, and I never really ate Brussels sprouts pretty much until, I gotta say, like 3 weeks ago when I had some Brussels sprouts, and I was like, yeah, they're okay. You know, but this movie's always kind of grossed me out. I'm like, I don't want to eat Brussels sprouts. This looks disgusting because it looks like the little booger things from Ernest. Weird side note.
That's to say, I'm the exact same way, man.
Yeah, I have a mind of a 6-year-old. They're okay. They're not. I don't think they're all right. But
oh no, I won't eat them. No way.
It's just, yeah. It's honestly, I'm like, anyways, not the point. So Ernest is now like, I got to turn around. I got to tell the old lady Hackmore what's happening here. So he gets back on the road again, and he slams on the brakes because now he is confronted by the troll. And we should mention the troll's name is Trantor as well too, folks. I don't know if I said that or not, but his name is Trantor for some reason. So Ernest is now driving down the road trying to get to old lady Hackmore's house, and he's talking to Rimshot about the Brussels sprouts and how disgusting they are. And all of a sudden, the troll Trantor just like sticks his head over the window and like breathes a bunch of weird mucus stuff on the window. And Ernest has troll spray and a bunch of other stuff, and he starts spraying it in the troll's face. And now he's being attacked by the troll, basically. And this troll jumps on the side of this moving truck. Ernest is now on the far side of the truck. I guess he's got it in cruise control or something. I don't really know what's happening here.
His dog is driving it, basically. His dog is steering this truck somehow. This is a wiener dog, basically, by the way.
He's a Jack Russell Terrier, and it's like his paws don't touch the pedals. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. I assume it's in cruise control. Like, the dog is actually steering this truck, which is a true statement in this movie. Which is, wrap your heads around that, folks. But yeah, like, the truck is still kind of moving down the road at a very slow pace, and little Rimshot is steering it. And there's this whole battle that ensues on the back of the pickup truck bed. and Ernest is fighting this troll. And he throws a rope at him, and he knocks him over the side of the truck. And so what happens now is Ernest gets back in the truck, and he stops the truck, and he's going like, where is this guy? Like, where'd he go, Rimshot? And all of a sudden, the truck is now being pulled backwards by this rope. The rope has been affixed to the truck, and the troll is pulling the truck back. And he's like, you know, like, Rimshot, hit the brakes, like, give it some gas. We got to get out of here, right? So they're trying to push this truck forward, and nothing's happening. So Ernest screams to Rimshot, hit it reverse. And so Rimshot, you know, he's got the old 3 on the tree happening here. hits it in reverse, and this truck is now slammed into reverse, going full tilt at this troll. And Tim, we're going to hit people with another clip. Again, the second greatest line in this movie, okay? We're going to play this for you folks. Just keep in mind again that this troll has an extremely disgusting, snotty-looking, greasy face, okay?
Yeah, and Ernest is pumped right now because he is going right into the troll.
How about a bumper sandwich, booger
You got him, remember that?
When that truck hits this guy, right?
That part of this movie is filmed so well. Like, it looks like they just run right over him, basically. It hits him so well. And yeah, the way Ernest's face, we're going to have to put I don't know, maybe on our Instagram or something. We're going to have a couple pictures of the way Ernest's face looks like that. He looks like a ghoul.
Like, just so satisfied with that. And you're right, just the way they film it from a side view, it's just like the little person in that costume that got hit by the truck just gets smoked, and they do a bounce and go onto the truck, and it is hilarious. Like, every time I watch this, I can't stop laughing.
No, it is awesome. That's like probably my favorite part of the movie.
All right, plowing ahead.
They run over him now, and somehow, like, this troll is like incredibly strong, like superhuman power, superhero powers, if you will. So Ernest, the truck starts like just slowly kind of moving by itself, like as if this troll is like carrying the truck or something and moving. And Ernest is on the very top, and this troll jumps up and scares him. Ernest flies backwards into this giant oil drum head first, and it basically gets knocked off the truck, and he goes rolling down the road, seemingly all the way to Lady Hackmore's place. Like, I guess the troll decided not to try and hurt him, because, well, I guess the troll's just fixated on trying to get these kids.
Well, he also gets crushed by a van here driven by Bobby and not Vern, but there's two guys in this movie that they kind of have at least Bobby has a role in this movie, and the other guy, I can't remember his name, it's like Tom or something, but it's not Tom.
Tom, yeah. His name, yeah, it's Tom.
It could be. There's two guys in this movie that kind of have a recurring role. At least Bobby does. The other guy is not really the same guy, but they get crushed by this. Ernest gets crushed by this truck, and he sort of hops over to old Lady Hackmore's house, and she's trying to take him out of this drum with a literal giant tin can opener.
It's really stupid. Yeah, like a hand one, like one that you would like pry into the top to like open a can of apple juice or something. It makes no sense, and even for the utensil that she has, it makes no sense.
Yeah, like why don't you just try to like pry him out of? Anyways, that doesn't matter. But
yeah,
Ernest is reading a book upside down now, and he's got, I guess it's the same book where the little troll poem was about, talking about the heart of a child in a mother's care. And there's a page in there that I guess were stuck together, and it says, "How thou canst destroyeth a troll." And part of it is ripped off again because the book was stuck together, but it says M-I something K. And Ernest doesn't really know what M-I something K means. And he thinks it actually is authentic Bulgarian Miak, is whatever Miak is. If it's supposed to be something, I don't know if that's something, Tim. Maybe we've got to Google that quickly.
Oh no, I've looked this up. I've already checked into this. So if you look it up on Google, it will tell you, there's a lot of sources that will tell you that it is a dessert, some kind of a yogurt dessert, when in actuality, this has been debated for so long because Miak is a completely fictional product that was made up for this movie. And so many people have analyzed it that after so long, people just came to a consensus that if Miak was actually a thing, it would likely be some kind of a spicy yogurt dessert served in Bulgaria.
Okay.
So to answer your question, if Miak was real, it would be a yogurt. But however, Miak is not. It's a made-up product.
Yeah, Miak is a Bulgarian-style flavored yogurt sauce that is commonly eaten in the spring and served with a thin pancake.
Yeah, people made that up.
Huh. Okay.
It's not a real thing.
I mean, that sounds right.
Like, yeah. Someone was like, yeah, it does sound like a yogurt. You know what? They probably just eat it in the spring.
It's a thin pancake yogurt.
Yeah,
in
because
Bulgaria.
people do that. I don't know. Do people even do that? Like we eat pancakes. Have you ever heard of putting yogurt on a pancake?
No, but I mean, people do weird stuff, right? I don't know. I mean, like this, you know what I mean? Like there's like in chicken and waffles. I know that's a big thing, right? I'm like, don't put chicken and waffle like this syrup and chicken. What is? But people swear by that too. So I don't know.
Ernest needs to get his hands on some quote unquote authentic Bulgarian Miak, because what else could it be? M-I something K.
If this was like Wheel of Fortune, yeah, you're right. He would just fail this horribly, right? This is like Randy in South Park on Wheel of Fortune. The subject was people that annoy you.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to spell that one out. Anyways, look that one up for you folks. So Ernest goes, there is like again, like the junior high costume contest / dance. I guess it's like the big thing in town to do in Briarville. I don't know.
It's just for the kids though. It's a costume contest held at their local high school or local elementary school or something.
Yeah. So that's happening. And Ernest is like, I got to go to town because apparently everyone in town, all 300 people are there at this town watching this happen.
Even while, mind you, 4 kids are missing right now. But you gotta, it's Halloween's only once a year. You gotta do this contest, right?
It's like, who's trick-or-treating though? I mean, is everyone at the town there and no one's trick-or-treating? Like, but
maybe they plan on doing it after, who knows?
I guess it seems late, but regardless, they all go down there and Ernest is there and he's screaming. I love this. Like, and he's screaming down, he's running down this hallway and he's like, Charles! And this guy opens the door and I'm just clobbers him with the door and he's like, Charles!
Yeah, when he goes in, nobody can understand him because he just got hit in the face like twice by this door.
Yeah, it's almost like Kramer in the Shoes episode, the Jimmy episode, I should say, sorry, where he gets his lip punched and then he gets numbed up and stuff and everyone thinks that he's got special needs or whatever, and it's kind of almost like that moment. But while this is happening, there is a moment outside where old lady Hackmore, she drives up in Ernest's rusty truck or whatever, and she sees a mom and a son have an exchange outside where they're having some words, and the mom's like, I'm not too fond of you right now, and he's like, I hate you, Mom. And then she's like, I'm sorry, and she's like, I love you. And then old lady Hackmore's like, oh, the heart of a child. So while this is happening though, and Ernest is, sounds like he's drunk and he's screaming about trolls and no one can understand him because he's pretty incoherent right now because his mouth got just basically punched in the face with a door. The troll is just standing there in this costume contest lineup and the bully is just like, that's a scary costume. I bet your mom made that for you. That's stupid. And then the troll basically like blasts him and turns him into a little wooden doll in front of everybody. And now pandemonium has broken out in front of everybody in Briarville.
Everybody knows now. And Ernest and the troll have a face-off. And actually, I might as well just play this clip. Hell.
Yeah, Tim. I mean, again, might as well. We're going to play you a quarter of this movie, folks. Might as well play all the hits. Let's play this part here. There's a bit of a showdown with the troll and Ernest, with Ernest's newfound knowledge of what he thinks is the secret weapon to stopping the troll.
Let's see how you like a little Miak.
Miak?
Yeah, Miak. I bet you thought I couldn't find any this time of year. Well, I'm a little too resourceful for you, a little too light on my feet. So come on, eat Miak and die.
Yeah. So this troll is just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he just growls and somehow does like a Star Wars force push and just blows Ernest like really far back. And he slams in this ice cream machine. And this troll sees the ice cream and gets scared. And he just runs away and vanishes. So in case you haven't figured this out by now, his kryptonite is not Miak. It's actually milk. Hence why the milk truck scared him away. There's ice cream. And you know what? I just thought of something too while we were just watching that clip. Remember how I said the internet sleuths or whatever, Ernest P. World nerds, were debating on what Miak actually is? And the reason why it's served in the spring is because Ernest just said, bet you thought I couldn't find it this time of year.
You got a good point there. You got a good point.
That has to be where it came from.
Someone just made this up. You're right. There's like a whole fake Miak misinformation campaign out there, and someone's made this. I feel like this troll is like a severe lactose intolerant person, though, right? Like, just cannot handle any kind of dairy product. But, you know, the troll runs away at the sight of all this milk and like butter and stuff covering Ernest. And everyone's like, way to go, Ernest, how'd you do that? And he's just like, yeah, he was afraid of me. And all of a sudden, little Kenny shows up. And he's got Rimshot. He's turned Rimshot. This disgusting evil person has turned Rimshot into a little wooden doll. Unfortunately, he's frozen little Rimshot his doll. And so now Ernest.
That's so sad.
I know. I always feel bad this part. I'm like, I love Rimshot. Leave him alone. I love Rimshot. But he has now ignited the fire in Ernest, and Ernest is upset, and he is going to kick his butt. So they're headed back to the tree now, where the little booger Brussels sprout things are dropping.
Yeah, he goes back to the tree, and like you said, there are all these things, these pods are dropping off of the tree limbs, and they're kind of just like sinking into the ground. He's kind of like trying to juggle them all to keep them from touching the ground, because he just knows that they can't touch the ground. And once they do, these other trolls, these other very, very ugly trolls, start kind of just appearing out of the ground. They just grow, and they're the same size as our original troll here, Trantor. And Ernest is just doing everything he can to try and keep them at bay. And while that's happening, all the other people, like the adults and the police officer, they show up because they're following Ernest out there, because, you know, they all seen the troll now. They're all on board. So they're an angry mob. They get out there, and these trolls just start kicking these adults' butts. And while that's going on, Kenny figured out. He saw the ice cream thing. He saw the troll react to the ice cream, and he realized that it's not Miak, it's milk. So these kids all go to their like local grocery store and just start stealing all the milk and filling up like their Super Soakers.
Super Soaker 50s.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I miss that gun so much.
I know.
Oh.
Super Soaker 100s, 150s. That's so funny.
Yeah, the 50s were just like chef's kiss. I used to have that gun. I loved it so much.
Yeah, they basically looked like space pistols, space guns, but in the form of water guns back in the 90s.
Ernest and the town, they're just getting their butts kicked, like you said. Just, it is chaos that has happened now. And the kids are on the way with their milk in their costumes to try to stop this. And Ernest is like taking bats to the trolls and stuff and kicking them in the nose, and like, oh my gosh, I love this part here, because this is what I'm talking about.
Throwing bowling balls at them.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. When I was a kid, this is the stuff I used to watch, and I used to like, I pause with my brother and be like, "Wait, hey, what do you think about that troll with like the red hood and stuff, or the one with the nails in it?" That was like so cool. And like one troll comes in on a rope and like smashes into Ernest and knocks him off his truck and stuff. And Kenny's dad is handcuffed to the cop car, and he's about to get shot here because the one troll ate a bunch of bullets, and the other one is smacking in the back of him with like a baseball bat or something. And he's just coughing up bullets, and he is about to get shot here. And Kenny and the kids show up and start firing off milk and saving them. And there's a one part too, which I think is absolutely hilarious, where this troll is about to axe Ernest in the head here. And Ernest is like, how many fingers am I holding up? Can you take a guess? Did you guess 2? And he just pokes this thing, Three Stooges style, right in the eye. Every time, Tim, I see this part of the movie, I'm just howling. I love, there's just so much happening here. Maybe we should, let's play a clip, Tim.
Yeah, there's this other part where he is on. Ernest is now on the treehouse, and he is basically he has a bowling ball, a giant bowling ball, 3-hole bowling ball, and he is getting ready to. He's basically acting like he's about to like take a throw with the bowling ball and give a strike, but really he's just going to toss it over the side of the treehouse and hope that he hits a troll. However, he doesn't. He hits one of the adults in the head. he just knocks this guy out with a bowling ball. But Ernest doesn't even look, and he starts just like, he holds it like, he has a bunch of random things all around. So he grabs this trophy and acts like he's accepting an award for knocking this guy out with a bowling ball.
This is a 50-year-old guy in a bumblebee costume too, that with a giant bushy like walrus kind of mustache, like Jamie from Mythbusters. And he's got a troll hanging off the back of him. He's freaking out. And Ernest is going to walk up, like he said, and sort of narrate like he was a commentator while he's a bowling professional, whatever you call it, a bowler guy. Bowler, that's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, go ahead. Play the clip, Tim.
Worrell selects a ball and steps to the line. It looks like a tricky 7-10 split. A hush falls over the crowd. Here it comes. The famous world twist. The release. Yes, it's good. The crowd goes wild. I'd like to thank you each and every one for this beautiful bowling trophy. Thank you, 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 thank you.
He never knew when to quit.
That was great. A really great callback to a good little joke they have there. Yeah.
Bravo. I love that. Because you're already laughing because you're like, what is happening? This idiot just crushed this bumblebee guy with a bowling ball, and then just they hit you again with that he never knew when to quit reprise. You just like, chef's kiss for writing. Whoever, just hot fire coming off their keyboard when they did that. Like, let's put this back in here.
So like you said, by this time the kids are showing up with their super soakers full of milk, and it just takes like a little bit of milk, and these trolls just like kind of basically melt down. It's like the Wicked Witch of the West getting doused with water.
So Ernest, at some part, he dresses up like the old lady again. and the other that weird chick and he squirts hairspray in this one thing's eyes and stuff, and they're dropping like helicopter sort of mailbox milk bomb on these things and stuff, and there's just a lot of funny things happening here. But while this is happening, it looks like the one troll Trantor, he is, I guess, underneath the tree again or something somehow, and he is like trying to get extra troll power, it seems like, and he is turning into like a bigger
super troll,
scarier, like the super shredder version of the troll basically is what's going to happen now.
Only the only difference is he's basically a bunch of tentacles kind of grow out of, like, these wormy tentacle things grow out of his head, and he gets horns that grow out of his face, little tiny horns, and his fingernails get really long.
That's right. And it looks like all the trolls are done, except now, like, Trantor explodes out and starts attacking Ernest, and everybody is like completely freaked out now.
Yeah, and there's like, I don't know why, like he makes fire rise up from the ground, and they're very small flames. Like everybody is terrified to step over this fire, but anyways, none of the adults can get there. Kenny is trapped in the middle of this ring of fire, and the troll gets him. The troll turns Kenny into a wooden doll, and now he has, I don't know what number of kids we're at right now, wooden kids that he's needed to get, but he has enough.
I think it's just to be like extra, like now he's got Kenny kind of thing, like he's toast, right? And there's a big point in this too where Kenny has a little water pistol filled with milk, and he squirts it on the troll, and the troll's like, not even milk can stop me now.
Not even milk can stop me now.
That was a good Trantor, actually, Tim.
I've been practicing today.
He is just like, it's not happening now. You can't kill me with the milk, dude. It's just not a thing. So he jumps down, and Ernest is now in trouble because Ernest is freaked out, and he's like, man, what do I do to stop this troll? And everyone's like, kill him! Kill him! And he's got the milk, and he...
Go, Ernest, go!
That's right. And he realizes that the milk isn't going to do it. And old lady Hackmore is kind of staring at him somehow. And it's like she's almost like doing like the Shining thing where she's talking to him through his head. And he realizes that he needs to give him the heart of a child and a mother's care. So we have basically a waltz version of the Ernest Scared Stupid theme song that starts playing. And Ernest picks up the troll and starts dancing with him in the middle of this fire and by this tree here. And everyone's like staring, like going, what is happening right now?
This is so bizarre. This is so weird. Even for my fondness of this movie, this is very strange. Like it seemingly just comes out of nowhere. And he's holding this troll because the troll is only like 3 feet high. So he's cradling this troll, and it's like an old song, like dun, 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 dun. And they're like dancing around, and they're having they share a really intimate moment, and he gives the troll a big old gross, disgusting kiss.
He goes, you're so cute, and he gives him a kiss and pulls off, and there's like 2 feet of boogers that come off here. And then, Tim, let's play the classic Ernest noise that he makes when Ernest is disgusted with something. I love this. Let's play this clip. I can't even do a proper Ernest.
Yeah. I can't move my jaw. I can't move my jaw
No.
like that.
Like Ernest is like a snake where he like dislocates his face almost. I can't do that noise. I love that. And that's it. And basically now Trantor's head explodes and a bunch of ghosts sort of like pop out and they go beep. And like a little nothing.
Going back, very, very back to the beginning when you mentioned when this movie started, way back seemingly in like the 17, maybe early 1800s is what we would guess, what this seemingly would have us believe. Old Lady Hackmore's sisters, whom were captured by Trantor way back, they come back, way back in the day, before he was, imprisoned under the tree. They are now revived. They're back. And they recognize her too. They recognize their sister, like, oh, how did you get so old? Like, geez, wouldn't she be like 200 years old or like easily 100?
These people come out in like bonnets and like not straw hats, but like, Huck Finn level clothing is what you're wearing here. And then the girl is like, Sister Francis? And you're right. How old is this lady right now? Do you know what I mean? This is a ye old like people. And somehow she's like 70. And this is like current day. This is 1991. So this didn't happen in 1920, you know what I mean? Like, maybe it did, but it didn't seem like it. And it said a long time ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, they made it seem like, again, Ernest's grandfather was dressed like Abe Lincoln kind of thing, right? And I'm pretty sure they said like his great-great-grandfather. So it's at least 2 generations, which I don't know what that is. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like you're at least 100 years. Do you know what I mean? Between these 2 people.
Yeah, I would think so. So everyone is celebrating. Everyone's really happy and rejoicing, but not Ernest.
There's nothing in that tree for me.
Rimshot! 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 Boy, where have you been? Did you miss your daddy? You were gone and stuff, and you were a wooden guy, and now you're back and you're not even done anymore. And you know what we're going? We're going for a ride on the truck, and we're going to be having fun at home.
So that is the end of the Ernest movie. It ends on a very nice, heartwarming moment where Ernest is reunited with his lovely dog, Rimshot. And that is Ernest Scared Stupid. While we're right here, it's maybe worth mentioning that this is actually the last appearance of Rimshot in the Ernest movies. I believe the dog was retired at this point. Like, this was...
Wow, you're right. I don't remember seeing him in Ernest Rides Again, or Ernest Goes to Africa, or Ernest Goes to High School.
He was only in the first 3 movies. I loved this dog so much that as an adult, I purposely got a small dog about the same size as Rimshot and named him Schooner.
Oh, yeah, that's so cute.
Just to have the same kind of companionship that I saw in Ernest when I was little.
You're right. I want to name my next dog Rimshot. What a great name. So, Tim, that was Ernest Scared Stupid. So, let's hear your thoughts. Why is this? I mean, is this one of your favorite Halloween movies, or no, or like, well, at least why is this such a treasured movie to you? I guess.
I think like it's definitely mostly like nostalgia for me. I don't think this isn't something that I would that like as an adult I haul out and watch just for the fun of it. If I had children, maybe I would. I mean, every now and then, with that said, like, I do enjoy looking up like clips of Ernest, especially like the old commercials, like the really, really Ernest stuff. Just preparing for this podcast, I probably spent like 3 hours today just watching like these 30-second commercials over and over and over. Well, when I say over and over, they're all different. Like, there's just so many. And I just really, really enjoy the character. Like, I don't know. I would kind of compare him to like maybe like Pee Wee Herman, but not quite as wacky. I think that Ernest is like a way better version of the type of thing that Pee Wee Herman is.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely go into a theater with Ernest and not have to worry about getting arrested. So, I mean, there's that.
Well, depending on what theater you're going to. It's not like I don't think they were ever hanging. I don't think their movies were in the same theaters.
No, but I mean, yeah, it wasn't like he was going to a Pee Wee. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
But I think this, as far as a Halloween movie for kids, I think this is awesome. When I was younger, this was definitely my go-to for a Halloween movie. Like as a kid, and even probably outside of Halloween, I probably put this on several different times. Went through 1 or 2 VHS copies of it.
Fair. Yeah, no, I think this this usually comes on once a year for Halloween. I'm like, all right, I'll watch something. I'm gonna put in quotations here, folks. Spooky. This is the movie for me that I put on because I'm like, it's fun. It's not really like offensive. It's not really like gross. It's just like it's fun. I don't want to use. I keep hating the word that descriptor, but when I was a kid, this was a movie that was like, it's not like super creepy, but I also enjoyed the monsters in this movie because I thought they looked cool. And just again, like we said at the start of the movie, just the intro. I really enjoyed the old monster movie clips that they put in this from like black and white films. And I always sit there and go like, what are these movies? Like, you know what I mean? And I've seen a few of them here and there. Like I've seen White Zombie and Nosferatu and a couple of them here and there. And definitely not all of them. Like that giant brain thing. I don't know what that is. That one looks weird. And that one looks like, all right, like what is this? But they look like they're like Ray Harryhausen kind of like style monster movies. It's basically what they look like. And just again, the bumper sandwich booger lips and all that stuff, the jokes that he sneaks in here and there. I thought it's just like, it's really funny.
And I think it holds up well too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, Ernest Scared Stupid and Ernest Goes to Jail, like top tier Ernest movies. The first 4 that they made were just like, again, chef's kiss. So good. And I think those are the ones that Disney ended up putting out. And then after that, they're kind of like, yeah, we're done with this. And then they just kind of dropped off a cliff as far as the production and the writing and everything else about them. It's just something about it. They're really goofy and it's not too serious. It definitely doesn't take itself too serious at all as well. And I find them just to be hilarious. This is a great movie. So it ticks a lot of boxes for me, you know, like the makeup and everything in this, the little costumes that they had. Rimshot, the dog, he's great. It's like, it's really cool. And again, because when I was a kid, you're like, oh, like what if I was like Kenny? And I got to have this cool friend named Ernest. And for some reason, he didn't get arrested for hanging out with me. Yeah. and I got to hang out with his dog and fight the trolls and save the city. Like, there was something about this that I thought was like really cool. Like, I was a kid. I was like the Goonies. I was like, maybe it could happen to me. I think they just got that little bit of like, you know, I don't know, it could happen, you know?
Yeah. And I really enjoy analyzing Ernest P. World as an adult now too. This is like you said, the movie doesn't take itself seriously. When you're a kid, your imagination's a lot brighter. You can kind of relate to all this stuff. But I really enjoyed watching this back this time and just being like, what a terrible garbage man he is. Like he's awful. Like he took all this garbage. He's not even collecting enough garbage. There's garbage sitting in front of people's homes. The town's getting upset. What garbage he did collect, he just took out into the woods and put it in a tree.
Should have dropped off at old lady Hackmore's house. No one would know the difference.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. I think that Ernest is like just such a cool character in that like there's just no context to him. Like you don't know where he came from, what his parents were like. Has he always been like this kid? Did he get in an accident or something when he was like 16? And he's been like Ernest, this Ernest that we know since then or something, or you know, I don't know. I just think Ernest is just so cool.
It's kind of interesting too because like those people getting frozen by the troll, right? It's almost kind of like the snap in Marvel, right? Or in Avengers, I should say. So here's a question: like old lady Hackmore's sister and brother, like yeah, I guess they're gonna have someone to live with. I mean, you know, she's like 70, so I mean, she's maybe got like 10, 20 years left. So, I mean, they'll get sort of a fighting chance of doing something. But, like, there was 2 other little kids that we saw in this that were, like, ye old English kind of kids, too.
It's like no time had passed.
Well, who's their parents? And then what are they going to do? Like, are they just walking around Briarville now and doing nothing? Like, does Ernest adopt them? What happens there with those kids, you know?
Well, it's they just went to the future. basically. They just kind of like time traveled for all intents and purposes on their part.
For sure, but who do they live with now? Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, you know, it's like you.
Oh, I assume they're gonna go live in the garbage house with their sister.
No, like there's two. No, I mean, like there's the old lady Hackmore's kids, and then there's two white kids that just aren't anybody's kids around, right? Like they obviously got wooden dolled by the troll at some point, right? So he got 4 of the 5 that he needed. So there's 2 kids now. That's what I mean in present day that just don't have anybody now.
More friends for Ernest.
I guess maybe he's gonna adopt these kids. Like they never kind of address that, you know. It'd be interesting to see what happened like after this movie. Like an Ernest Scared Stupid 2 would have been tremendous to see. Like where does he go now? Like what happened in this town? And there was no real continuity between those movies, you know, other than again like Rimshot and Bobby. Those were kind of the only things that stayed the same, and everything else was just different.
Well, and there are like a few actors and actresses that kind of make appearance playing different roles in the Ernest movies too. One cool thing I noticed from just because I spent so much time watching Ernest in preparation for this episode, that this movie actually was more like the original content that Ernest created, like back in the commercial days. So like there's this one shot, we didn't really talk about it because it really didn't have much of a bearing on the story. But when Ernest shows up to the police officer's house after he encounters a troll for the first time, there's this whole one-shot sequence that's filmed just like the episodes, or just like the old school commercials, where it's just one shot with a hand camera going back and forth, and Ernest is just like ranting and raving. I thought that was really cool. And also, one of the products that Ernest tried to promote, or whatever, was a spokesperson for in his commercials, was milk. And I think that's maybe where they lifted the whole milk thing from. I can only assume.
That's a good. Yeah, you actually did a lot here. I feel like you're probably onto something there, man. I mean, like that's a great homage.
I really wasn't looking for it. I just kind of watched this over. I was watching so much Ernest stuff that I was like, oh, this is like this. This is like this. It was kind of cool.
I never thought about that. I feel like you're right there. They're probably the layers of just, again, references and homages that they're doing to other Ernest stuff that like, they were like, all right, this is our last one we're going to get with the big studio here. So let's wrap it all into one kind of thing.
Oh, and also, I don't know if you knew or not, because it just seemed like there's a little bit, you may have had a little confusion as to who is Vern, who Vern is. Like when Ernest is saying, like, you know what I mean, Vern? It's because the old commercials were always from the perspective of this person that you've never seen named Vern. So Vern, it was basically Ernest selling these products, like this Mountain Dew, or what's better, Mellow Yellow or Mountain Dew? You know what I mean, Vern? And he's like talking to you. Us, the viewers, we are Vern.
Exactly. And even his TV show, the TV show that was on for a while. I remember that was on, like, in Canada, there is a station called YTV, which I'm pretty sure is just youth television. And the Ernest show was on that for a hot minute back in the day. And that was the thing. He'd always show up to, you know, again, quotations here, Vern's home. And he would always just kind of ambush the camera with like, here, I'm setting up a Christmas tree in Vern's house now kind of thing. And he would like knock him over, and like, you know, he'd knock over the fish bowl or like whatever it is. Like there's just things happening. Or he'd be up on a roof trying to help Vern with something and knock him off the roof. And like, yeah.
he was basically like a Dennis the Menace, and the viewers were his neighbor that Dennis always annoyed.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of like, yeah, being Wilson, but he doesn't talk.
Right, Mr. Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or Wilson from Home Improvement is kind of what I was thinking. But yeah, Mr. Wilson from Dennis Menace. Yeah, I wish we had done another Ernest movie long time ago. I mean, you know, we tried doing Ernest Rides Again as a demo, and we had a lot to improve on there, but I'm glad we got to this point now, and we got to do this movie because, man, like, so funny, so good, so many quotable lines in this movie. Again, before, you know, I saw a meme once. I was like, before memes, people would literally just sit around and quote Anchorman to each other. And that is like this movie. That's what this movie was to me and my friends back in the day. It's just we would quote this movie to each other. And I feel, again, like this is a sign of like you're in the club. If you know Ernest Scared Stupid, if you know some of these lines, it's just like you're in the cool club. Like,
yeah.
But I think, I don't know. That's all I got for this one, Tim. What about you?
Yeah, I don't have anything left to say. I think I've definitely had my quota of Ernest content for this year. I'm done with Ernest for the rest of this year at least.
I think you're right here. So maybe we got to throw milk on this fire, and we'll just wrap this one up. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna go get some pancakes and get some Miak.
Yeah, we got to get some authentic Bulgarian Miak. Might be hard to find this time of year. It's a springtime item, apparently, I've been told. So we'll leave it here.
And so thanks for bearing with us again. It's been a very busy year for Paul and I. We haven't got to release as many episodes as what we would normally like to, but we are still trying to squeeze them in when we can find time. And hopefully, knock on wood, we will get our Christmas episodes in and maybe get some more content out for you a little more consistently than we have been. But thanks for hanging in there, and hope you all have a great Halloween. And I think we'll just leave you. I'm going to leave you with one of Ernest's random split personalities. That with no context.
Do you smell fish?